Hi Madonna fans, this is a reaction for Patreon. This is Madonna's speech when she won Billboard Woman of the Year 2016. I can only assume that's when they started the award, because otherwise they left it a bit late.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Billboard's Woman of the Year for 2016, Madonna.
I don't recognise any of those people. Who's this in front of? What's the audience?
We already had sex with a banana, so. First of all, I want to
Okay, explain that joke.
I want to say thank you to Labyrinth. That was an amazing, amazing performance. Can I put this down? Sorry. Seriously? It's better this way. I always feel better with something hard between my legs. Thank you for acknowledging my ability to continue my career for 34 years in the face of blatant misogyny, sexism, constant bullying, and relentless abuse. When I started, there was no internet, so people had to say it to my face. There were very few people I had to clap back at, because life was simpler then. When I first moved to New York, I was a teenager. It was 1979, and New York was a very scary place. In the first year, I was held up at gunpoint, raped on a rooftop with a knife digging into my throat, and I had my apartment broken into and robbed so many times, I just stopped locking the door. In the years to follow, I lost almost every friend I had to AIDS or drugs or gunshot. As you can imagine, all these unexpected events not only helped me become the daring woman that stands before you, but it also reminded me that I am vulnerable. And in life, there is no real safety except self-belief, and an understanding that I am not the owner of my talents. I'm not the owner of anything. Everything I have is a gift from God.
Okay, fair enough. It almost seems a shame to cheapen this with commentary and reaction. You know, we just need to let this stand. I'm sure you've seen this before anyway, so I don't feel too bad about pausing, but there's nothing I'm going to add to this. What I love is how clear and direct she is. You know, she came on, did a couple of jokes, lightened the mood, but then straight into it. Absolutely just plunged into the terror, the fear, the horror of her first years in New York, which you guys have told me a little bit about. But just to hear it in her words in those stark terms was crazy, obviously. I'll try not to pause too much, like I will talk a lot at the end, but I can only make this worse. So let's watch a bit more.
And even the up things that happened to me, that still happen to me, are also gifts to teach me lessons and make me stronger. I'm receiving an award for being Woman of the Year, so I ask myself, what can I say about being a woman in the music business?
Plenty.
What can I say about being a woman? When I first started writing songs, I didn't think in a gender-specific way. I didn't think about feminism. I just wanted to be an artist. I was, of course, inspired by Debbie Harry and Chrissie Hynde and Aretha Franklin, but my real muse was David Bowie. He embodied male and female spirit, and that suited me just fine. He made me think there were no rules, but I was wrong. There are no rules if you're a boy.
Ooh.
If you're a girl, you have to play the game. What is that game? You are allowed to be pretty and cute and sexy, but don't act too smart. don't have an opinion. Don't have an opinion that is out of line with the status quo, at least. You are allowed to be objectified by men and dress like a slut, but don't own your sluttiness. And do not, I repeat, do not share your own sexual fantasies with the world.
This is absolutely brutal. I wonder when the last time was that the people in that room had the truth dropped on their head from such a great height, because it's, as someone with a 7-year-old daughter, like, it's horrifyingly true. And even if I didn't have any experience of that or knowledge of that, I would just believe her anyway. Why wouldn't you?
And do not, I repeat, do not share your own sexual fantasies with the world.
Erotica, justify my love.
Be what men want you to be. But more importantly, be what women feel comfortable with you being around other men.
Even more truth.
And finally, do not age, because to age is a sin. You will be criticized, you will be vilified, and you will definitely not be played on the radio.
This gets truer every year.
When I first became famous, there were nude photos of me in Playboy and Penthouse magazine. Photos that were taken from art schools that I posed for back in the day to make money. They weren't very sexy. In fact, I looked quite bored. I was. But I was expected to feel ashamed when these photos came out, and I was not, and this puzzled people. Eventually, I was left alone because I married Sean Penn, and not only would he bust a cap in your ass, but I was taken off the market. So for a while, I was not considered a threat. Years later, divorced and single. Sorry, Sean.
Fuck Sean Penn.
I made my erotica album, and my sex book was released. I remember being the headline of every newspaper and magazine. And everything I read about myself was damning. I was called a whore and a witch. One headline compared me to Satan. I said, wait a minute. Isn't Prince running around with fishnets and high heels and lipstick with his butt hanging out?
Amazing comparison. Amazing comparison. I never thought of that one before. Comparing her to Bowie makes sense, but comparing her to Prince, same era, same level of fame, probably like quite a similar record sale. Actually, Madonna would have sold more than Prince, probably, but like, I could be wrong on all of that, who knows? And obviously it was controversial, like it didn't go without notice what he was doing, but I doubt if anyone called him Satan. So yeah, what a great comparison. Love it.
Yes, he was. But he was a man. This was the first time I truly understood that women really did not have the same freedom as men. I remember feeling paralyzed. It took me a while to pull myself together.
Holy shit.
And get on with my creative life, to get on with my life. I took comfort in the poetry of Maya Angelou, in the writings of James Baldwin, and in the music of Nina Simone. I remember wishing that I had a female peer that I could look to for support.
Shit. I've never seen her this vulnerable. That's crazy.
Camille Paglia, the famous feminist writer, said that I set women back by objectifying myself sexually. Oh, I thought. So if you're a feminist, you don't have sexuality. You deny it. So I said, it. I'm a different kind of feminist. I'm a bad feminist.
Awesome. There's still people in that crowd that aren't with her. Can you tell?
People say that I'm so controversial,
There's still people
but I think the most controversial thing I have ever done is to stick around.
Yeah.
What I would like to say to all the women here today is this. Women have been so oppressed for so long, they believe what men have to say about them. And they believe they have to back a man to get the job done. And there are some very good men worth backing, but not because they're men, because they're worthy. As women, we have to start appreciating our own worth and each other's worth. Seek out strong women to befriend, to align yourself with, to learn from, to be inspired by, to collaborate with, to support, to be enlightened by. As I said before, it's not so much about receiving this award as it is having this opportunity to stand before you and really say thank you as a woman, as an artist, as a human. Not only to the people who have loved and supported me along the way, so many of you are sitting in front of me right now, you have no idea. No. You have no idea how much your support means. But to the doubters, the naysayers, to everyone who gave me hell and said I could not, that I would not, that I must not, your resistance made me stronger, made me push harder, made me the fighter that I am today, made me the woman that I am today. So thank you.
Wow. Okay. All right. There's something I read a couple of years ago about reaction videos where what you've got to do is, as a reactor, you've got to add value to the video that you're watching. There's got to be a reason why someone's watching you react to a song when they could just listen to the song on its own. Now, I can only take away value from this. There's nothing, I can only dilute that, you know? So with that in mind, because her words are so crystal clear, truthful, perfect, I can't expand on that, I can't add anything to it. So with that in mind, some observations. First of all, I didn't know how emotional she was going to get or how emotional that would make me, but I don't think I've ever seen her vulnerable. So that's something she said earlier on, wasn't it, about realising she was vulnerable, and then she went on to show you that by laying everything out there, almost completely losing it. There was a point where she went, no, and kind of stopped herself from properly losing it. So I've never seen that at all. I've not seen loads of Madonna interviews, but normally she's funny, she's smart, she's in control. Now, she was certainly in control there, and there was a little bit of humour, but actually not very much. For someone that is actually very funny, she didn't let the audience off the hook at all. You know, she wasn't going to let you feel good about yourself for very long at all in that speech. It was an incredible speech, and it gets truer every year. You look at the reaction to her recent tour announcement, any publicity photos or any paparazzi photos, her at a party, an awards show, whatever the case may be. It's horrific, and it's only going to get worse. Even some people that post, hopefully not on here, but some people that post on YouTube, Madonna fans will comment about her looks. It's like, God, I mean, I'm not even going to go there. Why would you? What's the point? What's the point? And not just people in my YouTube comments, but like anyone in the media, anyone on social media. When you're criticising Madonna's looks, or anyone else's looks really, but let's keep it to Madonna, when you take to the press and you start slagging off the way she looks, you're not really hurting her anymore. She's not going to read that, probably. Who you're really hurting is a young girl or a teenager or a woman, and boys too, because they're going to get their values from the stuff they read. That's the point that I really think is true. Dan Harmon, creator of Community and Rick and Morty, used to have a podcast, and on that, he was rallying against people slagging off Trump for his weird sexual fetishes. And he was saying, what you're doing is you're not hurting Trump at all. Trump's fine. What you're hurting is anyone else with those sexual fetishes. And that's what I'm thinking about with this comment. So it's kind of, you're not really hurting Madonna anymore. And, you know, she's taken worse than you can think of. But you're lowering the discourse, and you're promoting those values of ageism, sexism, misogyny, just general all around being a dick. You're promoting that. So preaching to the choir, obviously. What would be nice if I never had to do, but what I hope to do at some point, is show that to my daughter and my son. She's nearly 8, he's 4, so they're not quite ready for it yet, you know, but soon. Okay, final point. Anyone surprised by that or shocked by that hasn't been paying attention, because that's basically like human nature the video in speech form, or, you know, lots of other aspects of her career. If you want to know what she thinks about things, you just have to listen to her music and watch the videos. That's not true of a lot of people. Some, like Taylor Swift maybe, choose not to have a very strong position on anything, so certainly like trans rights and various other things I'm aware of, she either waited ages to make a statement on it, or just when she did it was a bit equivocal. Some, like Celine Dion, who I imagine there's not much crossover with you guys and the Celine fans, but people like her, very good singer obviously and massively successful at what she does. I don't know what she thinks about anything based on listening to the music I have so far. Now, that's just the kind of artist she is, or maybe I haven't heard enough. Now, that's not necessarily a criticism of her, but the reason I think Madonna's better than most people is I know what she thinks about something when I listen to one of her songs, watch a video. There's a strong point of view, there's a message. It's normally quite hard to understand first go round. You learn something, it's an educational thing. So my feeling is everything she said in that speech has probably been covered in a music video, a lyric, an interview, a photo shoot. Maybe those things obscure the message. Maybe for some people you need her to stand and just say it to you, like direct down the camera, in the clearest possible language. So that obviously had an impact, and quite right too. Amazing speech, amazing woman. I love her, she's great. Thanks, bye. What's in the uncensored version, you know?